Good afternoon and welcome to Courtroom Chronicles Trials of South Africa. And if it's your birthday today, happy birthday. Mdase, God's blessings upon your life. You are blessed to be alive. It's spring of 2025. We have so much to be grateful for. Without wasting any time, let us talk about Tiffany Meek. So Tiffany Meek was in court today on the 17th of September 2025. And once again, the matter has been postponed to the 5th of November 2025. Now, some of us thought today we will be hearing about the pre-trial and there'll be progress on this case. And even hearing that this trial is going to High Court, but it has been postponed, and I want us to talk about that. So let's talk about what it actually means that after your bail has been denied and you are still in custody, what is the legal process after that? Because we are going to think that they're taking time, they're wasting time, and there's no progress, there's delay in this case, Gandino. There are legal processes that have to happen before we can go into full mode, trial mode. So let us start here. Tiffany's bail was denied in July. That means she had to stay under custody until the trial. So unless her lawyers appealed that decision, and we know that the advocates wanted to appeal this decision. So what is next is that in serious cases like murder, the trial doesn't just start the next day, where you are denied bail today and then next week or the next day trial starts. The prosecution has to prepare some things, and that's called indictment. So think of an indictment like a school paper. We must know what exactly the charges are, what the evidence is, and how the state plans to argue the case. Without it, you can't even write exam. In this case, you cannot have a trial. So you know that sometimes I explain things like you are a 5-year-old, because not everyone is a lawyer, not everyone works in the court. And the reason why I started Courtroom Chronicles is to explain to everyone, whether you're 13 or 80 years old, how the law works. So this is why I'm explaining this. So right now, they're still preparing the indictment. That's why we're seeing these postponements. So let me break it down even more simply. Imagine you are accusing someone of stealing your phone. You can't just walk into court and say, they stole my phone and the trial must begin now. You need to prepare the story properly, and then of how the phone was stolen, what is the evidence, who saw that the phone was stolen, and do you have proof of that? So the same thing is happening. So basically this is what the indictment does, but on a much bigger scale. So in Tiffany's case, it's not just one charge. There are related counts as well. Just to remind you of that, I will remind you in just a bit. So the state has to make sure that every detail is covered. That's why they need more time. So let us explain what a pre-trial is. So a pre-trial is now that the indictment is ready, and we heard that the reason for the postponement is that they're still busy with the indictment. So when that is done, then that's where now we get into the pre-trial. That's the next phase, where everything will be transferred into High Court, and only then do we get a pre-trial. So the pre-trial it's like, when two kids argue who ate the last cookie. I'm trying to explain this so that everyone will understand. Before the mom comes in to decide which kid did what, and where was the cookie. This was before dinner, who saw that, the witnesses, and all of that. So that way the mom knows why the people are really fighting. So in court, the pre-trial is where the defense and the prosecution agree on what is the dispute, what is happening here, what is being argued about, exchange documents now, and decide now that the trial will run. It saves time. So the trial doesn't drag on forever. That is why you need a pre-trial before the actual trial itself. So in Tiffany's case, today was not about pre-trial. Mina, I thought it was about pre-trial, so it was not. It was simply a postponement so that the indictment is completed and the state says the case will return on the 5th of November 2025. Now, here's what it means for us. The longer it takes to finalize the indictment, the longer Tiffany sits in custody. But it also gives the states time to build what they believe to be a strong case against her. So now, family, here's where I want your thoughts. I want you to tell me what you think. Do you think the state actually has a strong case against Tiffany? And this is the 20th video that I'm doing today. So if you're joining us for the first time, I understand. But this is actually the 20th video that I'm doing about this case. From when Jaden Lee Meek was found on a staircase, when we were told he went missing in a complex, and we were all dumbstruck. How does a child go missing in a complex? And then the child was found on a staircase, and while we were looking at that and we're upset with the police, why are they not saying something? We heard from the grandmother and the mom talking about how they were thought to be suspects and their phones were taken away, and they were telling us also that the police did not really help looking for the child. And then things went quiet and we were wondering what is going on about this case. So after 2 months, that is when now we heard that a close family member was arrested. The next day, we heard that it was the mom. So it was shocking. It was very, very shocking. I, for one, never thought it was the mom. And I know that some people suspected her from the word go, because even when the grandmother and the mom, Tiffany, was talking to us, they said that the police were listening to people around them about them and took their phones, and they were not really running after the real people who did this. Then we also heard from the mother now, which is the grandmother to the mom, from the grandmother, Auntie Debbie, that her child is being framed. So now, in all of that, leading to the bail hearing, finally it was decided the bail was denied, because for that time, or currently as we know, evidence was showing, it was pointing to the mom, that there were things that were found in her unit, but we were told that the child didn't make it to the unit. So this is what I want you to answer when you on the comment section. Do you think the state actually has a strong case against Tiffany Meek? And are these delays a sign that they are struggling to put everything together? And here's a tough one. If you were in her shoes, would you prefer a quick trial? Would you rather the state take its time, even if it means sitting in prison longer? So let us talk about it in the comment section. I know that from the beginning, actually not from the beginning, yes, we were all Team Jaden. We wanted justice for Team Jaden. And then now the mom was arrested. And there were developments, there were OB entries that were missing, there were securities that were fired, and there were things that we had from the private investigator. Then there were two teams now. There was Team Tiffany, and there was also Team, Jaden Lee Meek. Actually, that's what we want. We want justice for. So I know that there are some people who think that she's innocent, and some are also saying that if she's not innocent, at least give her bail like any other person. And the defense also is saying that they want the mom to actually grieve their child and also get bail. So I want us to talk about these things. So wrapping up, Tiffany appeared today, but instead of a pre-trial, the case has been postponed to the 5th of November 2025 for the indictment to be finalized. Until that documentation is ready, we are still waiting for the real fight now. the trial itself to begin. So I guess everyone understands now that after your bail has been denied, what happens? The indictment has to be in place, and then we go to pre-trial now and bringing everything that needs to be done so that when the trial actually starts, everything is in place. So with that being said, thank you for watching and see you on the next one. God bless you. Ciao.